Hello friends, welcome back. If we've never met before, my name is Sharon and I'm happy to be studying with you today. This is the second set of videos that I'm making for the Help Me Start Writing series. And the purpose behind these videos is to help students who are having a hard time just getting motivation to get started. Sometimes the most difficult part of writing is just getting ideas and figuring out the vocabulary that you need to talk about those ideas. This series of videos is going to be about animal research. In other words, scientific experiments that we use animals in to find out if medicines or technologies or new innovations are safe for people to use. So it's a pretty controversial topic, which is why my very first piece of advice for this topic in particular is to think about how you're going to persuade your audience. If you're writing a paper about animal research, and your purpose is to convince or persuade or to argue, there are different ways to do that. You can use logic. And logic, in other words, is finding credible sources on the topic and then using those sources to support your opinion. You can also use emotion. By the way, this word logos and ethos, these are Greek words, and there are ways about talking about the ways that we persuade our audience. We can use people's emotions to make an argument and to persuade, but my caution is that your argument cannot be only emotion. It's not enough for an academic essay. There's another kind of persuasiveness that we can use in arguments, and that's our credibility. So if I'm a veterinarian or I am a scientist who uses animals in my experiments, I have credibility in talking about this topic. I am not, okay? I'm a teacher. So unfortunately, I do not have credibility in this topic. So I need to use the other two persuasive elements. I need to rely on logic and some emotion. Okay, emotion is okay as long as you have research to support it, and you're not only using emotion to make your argument. So if you're going to use this topic, showing pictures of animal testing is not enough. It's not enough to develop a full paper. What 3 different points are you going to make about animal research? Oh, it's cruel. It's painful to animals, and we shouldn't do it. Those are all the same thing. So if you're going to do this topic, you need to think strategically about, okay, what are my points going to be? So that's what we'll do in this video, is we'll start to generate some ideas and thinking about what could you write about. So I just recently created a Google Classroom, a class on my Google Classroom, and I'm going to use it to post documents and to organize videos. So you are free to drop by and see how I have organized documents. I'm calling it Advanced Academic Writing. I don't know if I'll make other classes. Maybe I will. I don't know. But you are welcome to drop by there. I'm going to put the link and the class code in the description of this video. I'm not going to put it on the slide because if the link changes, then I have to redo the whole video, and I don't want to do that. So I'm going to put that information in the description of this video. There's no homework. I'm obviously not grading any papers here. So this is just a place for me to share materials with you. All right, so before we really get into talking about animal research, I want you to think about, okay, what has my teacher asked me to do? What is my assignment? Is it an argument? Is it an informative paper? Is it problem solution? What kind of paper am I writing? So go back and look at the document that your teacher has given you that describes the writing assignment. Look at the rubric. How will you be graded? What kind of thesis statement do you need? How many points do you need? How long is the paper? These are all questions that are answered if you read your writing assignment and your rubric. Then also think, when is your essay due? How much time do you have to develop these things? Has your teacher given you deadlines, or do you need to make your own deadlines? So for example, if your paper is due a month from now, so you have 4 weeks to do it, and week 4 you need to turn in, right? Then in this week, all you should be doing is final revision and editing. Okay, you should not be writing the paper in week 4. All right. Week 3, what should you be doing then? You should probably be revising. You shouldn't start writing it. This week, you should probably be drafting a first draft. And this very first week, you should be finding your sources and making an outline. So in the past, I've had students ask me, teacher, how do I make a plan and stick with it? And what I tell them is you have to, if you're not a disciplined person, let me write that word here. Disciplined. To be disciplined means that you make rules for yourself and you follow them. So if you in the past have had trouble making deadlines and sticking with them, you have to develop the habits. You have to tell yourself, I am a responsible person now. So I am going to make rules for myself and I'm going to follow them. Okay? That's part of growing up and taking responsibility in life, is making sure that you know what you need to do and when you need to do it. Okay? All right, so let's get to this topic. Generating ideas on the topic is what we're going to focus on now. In the second 2 videos, we'll talk about vocabulary and we'll look for credible sources. What you will do by yourself, you need to read your sources. You need to create a thesis statement, and I will help you with, think about that today. You'll also need to plan and organize your ideas, write your paper, and revise and edit it. I know that sounds like a lot, and it really is, but I want you to tell yourself 2 things. I am smart and I am capable. Okay? You are smart, you are capable, and you can do it. Okay? Don't freak out. Just do one thing at a time. All right. So let's talk about thesis statements for papers about animal research. So in a thesis statement, you need to have a position, okay? And you need to have 3 reasons for that position for a traditional argument essay. Your assignment may be quite different. You need to read your writing assignment to see what your teacher wants. So I'm just going to show you about how to write an essay, or how to write a thesis statement for an argument essay that follows this structure. So a position is how you feel, yeah, I don't like saying how you feel. It's how about, I'll start with, I believe that, and then something here. So I believe that animals should not be used for research, period. And then you're going to have 3 reasons. So a position is a stance, a stand that you take on an issue, and then you're going to have 3 reasons that support that. So in thinking about what your position is going to be, it doesn't have to be, should we use animal testing or should we not use animal testing? You could decide to do a position that's a little bit different. Okay? So here's some questions to consider. It doesn't have to be just for or against animal testing. So my first question is the biggest one, should we conduct animal testing? What about for what purposes should we conduct animal testing? What if you considered, what if you made a position that we should use animal testing on this kind of problem for these 3 reasons? Here's another question to consider. What limitations should we place on animal testing? So if you think, yeah, animal testing needs to be done sometimes, but there should be limitations, then that can be your position. There should be limitations for this reason, and this reason. Another possibility, what alternatives exist to animal testing? Maybe your position is something like, we shouldn't use animal testing because there are other alternatives. These are 3 reasons that we should use other alternatives. Something like that. All right, so let's generate some ideas on this topic. I'm suggesting in this video to check out these 2 websites. They're great places to start. They are not good places to end. You should not draw all of your research from these 2 sources, but these 2 sources can get you thinking about the topic and can provide other research that you can read and cite in your paper. So let's go to them now. I'm gonna transfer you here while I bring that up. Okay, so pro-con. Okay, so here is procon.com. It's a pretty awesome website. You can read, it's for students and teachers. So this one, what they do is they give you a little bit of background information here. You can read that later. I won't read it to you now. And then they divide, the blue side is for and the yellow side is against. And they highlight some major arguments for and against this topic. And even if you decide to go with a slightly different thesis statement, you can learn a lot from just reading this web page on the topic. They pull together a lot of very useful sources. And when you click on these hyperlinks, see those annotations, they'll take you down to their citation list. Here was 14. And you can go and look at that source yourself if you want to do so. So here's some of the arguments for it. So it saves people's lives. Against, well, it's cruel and inhumane. Yeah, those are the 2 big ones, right? I already knew that. Let's keep looking. 4, there is no adequate alternative to testing on a living whole body system. I did not know that. Okay. Alternative testing methods now exist that can replace the need for animals. Oh, so there are other alternative ways to test without using animals. So if that interests me, I can read more about that and read those sources. Animals are appropriate research subjects because they're similar to humans. On the same topic, oh no, they're actually very different. Okay, and there's different research for both of those. Animals must be used in cases when ethical considerations prevent the use of human subjects. So that's saying that it's better to test on animals than people because people are more important. Drugs that pass animal tests are not necessarily safe. Wow, that's a pretty strong argument for against animal testing. Oh, they're not necessarily safe if they're tested on animals. So again, you get the point. So pro-con can help you think and figure out what you want to do in your paper. All right, let's try Wikipedia now. Wikipedia.org. Okay, so Wikipedia is also a great page to get into the topic. It's not a great place to end. Sometimes over here you can read it in another language. To get started in a topic, I think that, in my personal opinion, I think it's fine to read it in your native language if you want, because you're not going to cite this. It's just to help you get some ideas, and then later you can figure out how you want to express them. So, and sometimes in here they have simplified English, but I don't think this one does. It does not. So Wikipedia, I'm sure you're familiar with it, or maybe not, I don't know. You could be coming from anywhere with any kind of experience. So they have it organized by categories here. So you can get a very quick overview on the things to consider in animal researching or animal testing. Yeah, we won't go through the whole thing. And then at the bottom, my favorite part of Wikipedia is that it provides you all of their sources hyperlinked. So you can go to these things directly and see if it's something that you want to read, if it's within your reading level. Okay, so let's go back to that. Maybe. There we go. All right. So I'm also going to include in the description of this video some links to videos that I curated. In other words, I selected, I watched them and thought, yeah, this is a pretty balanced video. Some of them are for animal testing, some of them are against. So I think that when you are writing an argument essay, it's really important that you read sources for both sides, so you can understand what the arguments are on both sides, but also to encourage your own critical thinking. I will say that this first video here, that's from Vice News, it is a very graphic video. In other words, it shows actual animal testing on monkeys. So if that makes you uncomfortable, you don't think you can handle watching that, just watch the other ones. But I thought that it was very well done. It's an excellent documentary, very short, to see how the researchers actually treat the animals. Sometimes I think what gets lost in the topic of animal testing is people don't see the relationships and the treatment that scientists actually have with the animals that they're experimenting on. 10 or so years ago, my husband worked very briefly on a project that involved animal testing, and he got to see firsthand that the researchers that were working on the animals cared deeply about making sure that the animals were comfortable and safe, and that they were not in pain, and that none of them were being ill-treated. So it made a difference to him to see the inside research facilities and to experience what it's actually like when people do animal testing. They take it very seriously, and usually they really do love animals. All right, so some other questions to consider while we're generating ideas and thinking. What are the benefits of conducting tests on animals? What do human beings get out of these scientific experiments? What are the disadvantages of doing these tests? How are animals actually treated during the testing? Okay. What are the laws that regulate animal testing? Are there countries that have stricter laws than other countries? And what are those laws? What are the regulations that need to be fulfilled? What are the disadvantages of stopping all animal testing? What would we not be able to do if we didn't do any animal testing? what effects may emerge in a world without any animal testing? If we cannot develop vaccines by using animal testing, what does that mean for humanity? It's a really big question. All right. All right, so that brings us to the end of this first video on animal research. Definitely go check out the links that I put in the description of this video, and feel free to leave comments and your ideas if you want to talk through some ideas. Thanks for joining me, and I'll see you next time.